talk to me, we're live. Talk to me, bright days, summer nights, good vibes. Talk to me, we're live. Talk to me, love's high. Talk to me, baby, bright days, summer nights, good vibes. Talk to me, 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 talk to me.
We're live.
Hey guys, I'm Dr. Ayala back here on Synapse. I'm a board certified family medicine physician. I run a full time private practice. I also own an aesthetic and wellness med spa out here in Amarillo and do telemed in Texas. And that's about it.
You're also now a co-host of a podcast.
Yes, I'm also now co host of a podcast and a businesswoman slash investor.
You're
Can't
a little
forget
bit
that.
of everything. I like it.
A little bit of everything.
The
Yes,
hats keep coming.
they do.
I'm
They
Q.
really do.
I'm the founder of Villani. I also own a consulting company. I am also now the co-host of Synapse podcast, where we discuss tech, health, wellness, fitness, philosophy, psychology, conspiracy. Sometimes.
All the things that we love.
That's right. That's right.
Whatever we feel like for the week, wherever the wind blows us.
That's right. So today, the topic of discussion is none other than microplastics.
And I'm kind of glad you brought this topic because, like, I have heard about, I hear a lot of people talk about it and stuff, but I've never really done my own research on it. And so I know it's a thing, I know it's out there, but I've never dug deep enough to really try and understand its significance. And it's kind of interesting because apparently we're still trying to figure out its significance to a lot of an extent. I mean, we know some of it, but so I think it's kind of a cool topic to address.
Well, I did a walkthrough, and after doing the research on what microplastics is and the BPAs, essentially the cocktail of things that are associated with microplastics, here is my list of what I found to be the bad guy in my kitchen. Number one is my espresso machine. And I'm really, really bummed out about that because I have a very nice, very expensive espresso machine. It's the Barista Touch Express, but all the water sits in plastic. The water filter itself is plastic. And then the beans sit at the top of the espresso machine. And when it grinds down, that whole bean thing is in plastic. So I'm not looking forward to having to get rid of that. My refrigerator, where the ice comes out, plastic. The water spout, plastic. Luckily, we don't cook with actually any like plastic cooking utensils. We use stainless steel and we use our pans. All of our pans are why am I going blank? They're all black, but they're the cowboy pans. Skillet.
Oh, okay.
The skillet.
Oh, skillets.
That's right. And then we did have some non-sticking pans, but we've gotten rid of those because quite honestly, they suck. They really do. Over time, they just lose their non-stickiness.
Yeah.
And then we do have our to-go containers are glass, but the lids are plastic. And then when we warm stuff up in the microwave, we put a plastic thing over it every time to keep, the food from. So there's the rundown on the plastics in my kitchen. Can you think of any
So I
in
pretty
yours?
much I have pretty much everything you have. Um, Although I was thinking about at work as well, because at work I often use I have plastic utensils in my office,
In your Keurig?
and so the Keurig like actually like spoons. Like I eat cereal every morning at work, and so I use like the paper plates, which are fine, but every morning I'm eating with the plastic spoon or um, stirring my coffee. I do actually have metal spoons, but I got lazy and didn't want to wash the metal spoon, so just been using a plastic one. in my hot, really it's hot tea, not hot coffee, but same thing.
Yeah, you're getting
Um,
that. We call that BPA to go.
yeah, exactly. Really, there's just so much. I mean, I'm sure like even the little things that you cut apples with, or you cut eggs, like the egg slicer. Oftentimes, the little protector that's on the knives that we use is plastic. And so imagine every time that knife that you put back in this little plastic cover is slicing against that plastic, you know? Um, yeah, I don't, there's just even dish soap, like dish soap is in plastic.
Yeah, so let me go through this list. They have found, so of course we said microwaves, plastic blenders, and food processors, which I didn't mention that, but we do have a plastic blender. Plastic cooking utensils, you cover that, magic erasers, melamine sponges, bottled water.
Magic
That
erasers plastic?
that's what it says, yeah. And also they shed fibers every time you scrub, like some of those sponges that we use to clean our dishes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bottled water, coffee from paper cups. This is a big one.
Oh.
Like every time you go get your coffee, and then it's not even just the coffee cup itself, it's when they put the coffee in it, that plastic on the interior actually melts at a level that we can't
Oh,
see
I
with our
see. It's
eyes.
like lined with plastic, like the film or whatever to like
Mm-hmm.
make it
Mm-hmm.
not go through the cup. Okay.
Yes. And those are almost worse
Also,
because
plastic
it's,
lid. The lids are plastic.
yeah, yeah. Sodas, juices, any drinks from plastic, even aluminum cans can be lined with plastic. Tap water, it's less, actually, there's less plastic in tap water. I will say this is an interesting thought. Someone was telling me about getting a home system, like a home filtration system, but I was thinking, I don't know how beneficial that is considering all of the plumbing is done through PVC, which is essentially plastic.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's
I
like you're
mean,
filtering it out before it actually hits the plastic pipes.
yeah, yeah. Exactly. Well,
Yeah.
and also, so basically, like 70 to 80%, I think, of the world's microplastics come from these larger plastic particles, like that just break down over time. So, anyways, just so everybody's on the same page, yeah, microplastics is any plastic particle that is less than 5 millimeters. So, some of it are really small, but you can see with your naked eye. But some of it literally is, it also includes nanoplastics. So, tiny plastics that we can't see, which is most of what I think Q and I are discussing. It's probably more of the nanoplastics. But essentially, microplastics encompass all of those things.
And to give them a visual, nanoplastics, to describe how invisible they are to the eye, take a grain of sand and then imagine 1,000 times smaller than that. That's about how
Hmm.
tiny these microplastics are. Here's some interesting places that they've found them. Blood clots. 80% of surgical removed blood clots contain microplastics. Breast milk.
Hmm.
This is interesting. I would love for you
I've
to go
heard that.
deep on here. Breast milk. 76% of samples from lactating women contain microplastics.
And even the placenta is the one. And so that's kind of what I was thinking of it with was like regarding health, right? Like, sure, these microplastics, but what is their significance? And I think while we found them in a lot of places, like they're found in the cardiovascular system, and we've linked it to cardiovascular disease, and also in like the gut microbiome. We've done animal studies. There's animal studies out there, and we can see the harm. But when it comes to human studies, to actually make these bigger claims, you're talking about the ethics of it because you can't expose a control group to microplastics and follow them over time. So really, now that we are aware of microplastics, we're essentially gathering data from society, as as we pass away, but it's not in a control. There's no control group. There's nothing controlling it. So you won't, it's very hard to determine, like, okay, this person died of cardiovascular disease. How much of that was due to microplastics compared to, other things? Because as I say, it's unethical to use humans to actually conduct the study. So literature is a little limited on that right now in regards to that. But I think, we can definitely tell that while we may not be able to say the magnitude, we can definitely say it's multifactorial, but it contributes hugely. It was found, so you get it via the most common ways are ingestion and inhalation. So things that we eat, and even in our air, there's microplastics. And so, what I was really interested in is over the years, if you look at colorectal cancer, um, even just 20, 30 years ago, you know, the prevalence of colorectal cancer was less than it is now. Like every year, people are getting diagnosed with cancer more and more. Um, and and yeah, you know, and while have our screening methods improved? So are we detecting more because of our screening methods? Maybe, but that doesn't account. I really think that cancer is increasing in the population. And while I'm not going to say, oh, 100% of cancer is due to microplastics, I definitely think that it plays a role in the development of cancer. Can we prove that? Not at this time. But, it's been shown to, like, how the body gets rid of toxins and how the body, um, like how the liver gets rid of toxins. It's basically your antioxidizing organ.
Hmm.
Microplastics are built up in that organ, and then how well does it function to get rid of things that could, you know, cause cancer? Or if you have, you know, plastic in your gut, like how much of that is contributing to cancer? I mean, screening for colorectal cancer used to be 50, and within the last several years, we actually moved it down to 45, just since.
And
So,
this also
yeah.
disrupts your mitochondria.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to
Yeah.
discuss the importance of having a healthy mitochondria?
I mean, that goes back into like your oxidative process. You process your mitochondria is essentially, well, it's the powerhouse of the cell. So it's responsible for producing energy. Uh, but also getting rid of like oxidative stress and stuff like that. Now, I don't know the specifics on the mitochondria as far as like microplastics. So if you have done research on that, I would love to know like what you read in relation. But I could imagine that it would be found in every cell and every, you know, if it's that small a particle. So what
Well,
did what did you?
let me tell you this: they have found microplastics in almost every tissue in the body, which
Yeah,
is mind blowing when you think about how small something has to be to cross your gut lining, to cross into the brain. That's not big
yeah.
at all.
Well, on some of the research that I did, it said like the microplastics can vectors. So not only is it the plastic itself, but they kind of hold on to chemicals. So other chemicals that we may not have inhaled or ingested, but now because it's leached into this microplastic, it's not only the plastic itself, but it's whatever chemical that the microplastic is carrying with it that can now get into our bodies.
And this can affect your testosterone, your estrogen.
Mhm.
I mean, it truly does create a chemical imbalance
I
within the
mean,
body.
I presume it can affect everything, right? Like it's a tissue that is finding its way. And actually, they found it in a lot of immune cells. So they've even found it in lymph nodes. So, like our adenoids, our tonsils, mainly from inhalation and things like that. But then, how much of that is the cause of autoimmune conditions?
Hmm.
Like you're seeing a lot more autoimmune conditions. Um, hypothyroidism, how much of that is maybe microplastics slowly depositing in the thyroid, and so people over time are developing low thyroid. Um, Lupus, blood cancers, just in anything, and we don't know the answers to those questions. And I think that's the scary thing, is like we have this non-organic material depositing into our body at an alarming rate that we have no idea how to control, because majority of things in the world are made of plastic,
Mm-hmm.
right? And we don't know its true implications. And it's not like a medicine that comes out that's bad for you and then we're just going to pull it off the market, right? Like it's out there. And even if they were to now have a law like they did at one point, okay, BPA free, everything was BPA free for a while, but like, what about all the stuff you bought before BPA free?
Mm-hmm.
Like that would
Or if they're
be
swapping it out for BPS, something else in the same family group.
family, exactly. And so I think really when it comes to this, it's what's scary is the unknown, and the fact that we don't really know its implications. Um, but I don't think anything good can come from its implications.
Well, they also found in 100% of males tested, it was found in 100 of in male semen. 100% of tested samples from healthy young men contain microplastics.
And so that makes me wonder. And then it was found in a placenta. Like, so how much of a developing baby,
Has it
newborn, or yeah,
is being
or
born with microplastics.
exactly, like that's literally integrated almost into their DNA.
Mm-hmm.
To that, like if it's, you know, on a cellular level, right? And you find it in mitochondria, which is a structure that is small enough to fit within a cell, you know, um, how how is that being integrated into the DNA? You know, I don't know. Maybe we'll, if you believe in evolution, you know,
Well, no, for
we'll
sure.
become these
Yeah.
crazy, like our bodies will learn to adapt to the
To
microplastics, and we'll
plastics.
be superhuman uh, transformers. We'll have like plastic arms, weapons. I'm
Well,
just kidding. I don't know.
I could see it. I mean, we have adapted. We have adapted. The first synthetic plastic was made in 1907. It was invented by Leo Baekeland,
Okay.
and it was used for radios, telephones, and electrical parts. So it wasn't invented ever in like this evil way. And then once they
No.
realized, oh, this is lighter, it's cheaper than glass, cheaper than metal, cheaper than some woods, it's scalable. And so plastics kind of took over. I'm always fascinated, Dr. Ayala, about how many things we invent. The human species is good about creating inventions like fire, realizing fire burns down, so we need firefighters, fire hose. So I think this whole microplastic thing, because you can't just see the effects immediately and it's not visible like a burning fire, it's taken time to realize, oh, there's some interesting numbers with plastic production going up and infertility going down. Maybe
Mhm.
there's a correlation there, right? And so I just think we needed such a long data set of previous information to even come to the theory of maybe there's some correlations here. So,
And I think that'd be hard, right? Because like correlation does not always equal causation.
correct.
So let me give you a good example, which a lot of people do, but like um, I'm going to give you kind of like a trivial example, but I don't know. I'm trying to think now, real quick.
For
uh,
correlation causation?
yeah. So like, okay, um, there are more cars being built now than ever before, right?
Mm-hmm.
And um, inflation is going up at an alarming rate. Like, does increased car production is responsible for inflation because they're going up at a similar rate? Now, like, that's not those two things are not associated. They're just both happening to be on the same path,
The same trajectory.
trajectory,
Hmm.
and so you can do things. So just because you can see a pattern, the thing is like now we have to prove that that pattern is correlated, or
Right.
there is a causation between that correlation, right? And so I think that's where the difficulty comes in, is there isn't a control. Like, it's hard to do a controlled study because there are other things affecting it, like processed food, right,
Hmm.
has increased,
Sugar.
sugar has
Yep.
increased,
Poor sleep, lack of
microplastic,
exercise, high stress.
exact, that's decreased. The population is obese. Like,
Hmm.
it, how are you going to determine the sole significance of microplastics on mortality, because you can't have a controlled study.
Well,
You
you
know what I mean?
can, just not in the traditional sense. So this would be more, I guess, a tech way of doing things or hardware way of doing things. We would need to reverse engineer it. So instead of filling people with microplastics, we'd have to take a case study group of, let's say, 30, 40, 50 people and completely remove plastic from every part of their life. Organic food, not wrapped, not vacuum sealed, like straight from the farm to the table, all
But even
cotton, all wool.
still, but even still, so that would be fine. But the thing is like, you know, that study of 40, 50 people is not
I
significant.
know it's a drop in the bucket, but hey, it's a start.
But yeah, but you could do retro, like those kinds of studies.
Reverse engineer.
And then a lot of studies, reverse engineering, but also like retrospective studies, which those are being conducted to some extent. But you have to wait for people to like die and then, determine, okay, in this heart, how much microplastics was there, or in this, you know what I mean? So it can be studied within a population group, but you can't, the studies that we have are going to take years,
Hmm.
right? It's
Well, yeah. Well,
not.
not only that, it's not just what makes this one so difficult. Even if you reverse engineer, and you can get a group for, let's just say, you can get 1,000 people to commit,
Mm.
and there's no microplastics around them. I don't understand the world in which they would live to where they don't encounter microplastics on some level.
So I've always thought it was funny. Do you remember there was this huge push that, like, everywhere had paper straws,
Hmm. Yeah.
and like, and I'm pretty sure every now and again I would get a paper straw at like a restaurant or something, and it would come in a plastic wrapper,
Yeah.
and I was like, what's the point?
There's a lot of
Because
things like that. No, I've had
no.
look, I have a friend, you're going to think this is wild, but this is a true friend and this is a real conversation. He told me he was going to quit vaping probably 3 or 4 times. And one of the
Okay.
last times I was with him, I noticed his vape, there's like a battery light to show you how full it is, and it was brand new full. And I said, "You still vaping? Is that your last one from like a month and a half ago?" And he just smiled. And he goes, I'm actually going to start smoking cigarettes again to quit vaping. I said, "Wait, you're going to go backwards in life with smoking cigarettes?" And here's his logic. His logic is he quit cigarettes once, but he can't quit vaping. So if he can quit vaping by going to cigarettes, then after some time he can quit smoking cigarettes. And so the point being is that's another paper wrapped in plastic scenario.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
psychological thing,
No,
like
100%.
recycled plastic. That just makes you feel good. It's recycled.
I know. It's recycled. I mean, in some ways, I guess it's good we're using plastic from the ocean, but like
Yeah.
nonetheless,
Yeah, that's the other
so
thing, how
much is
bad it
plastic.
is for our environment. I mean, it doesn't degrade at all.
Well, I mean, if it's in our cells, right? It's in plants, it's in, trees, it's in animals. Like, then we're eating the plastic through the animals that it's in
Hmm.
their digestive system, and then, what is that um, effect, and I just think it's a lot. And, you know, the funny thing is you were like, I'm going to get rid of my espresso machine, right?
Hmm.
And I was thinking, like, okay, maybe I won't spoon. Maybe I'll just use metal spoons when I can. And sometimes I get a little lazy, so I go and I drink out of a plastic water bottle instead of my reusable water bottles. So maybe I'm like, okay, I'm just going to use my reusable water bottle now. But the truth is like you can make all those changes, and like, is it futile? Because you can't get away from plastic.
Well, no, I
It's
mean, look
impossible.
at your figs scrubs, polyester,
Yeah.
nylon.
Hmm.
So there you go. I mean,
Yeah. I mean, you just can't. So like, is it even worth me throwing away these plastic spoons? I'm not throwing them away, but like not using them, anymore.
yeah, well,
Because
yeah, for sure. I think
the
if you
other
can
thing is
mitigate, if you can mitigate something even by 10, 20, 30%, you should definitely do that for sure.
but you don't know that it's 10, 20, 30% because we don't know the impact that it has. What if
Mm.
plastic spoons is like a drop in the bucket and I don't know, my polyester scrubs are, I don't know, seeping through my skin at a much higher rate than that plastic spoon is contributing to my microplastic ingestion.
We need some real lab rats, just some guys who are like, you know what?
Right?
Take me to the lab and do what you got to do for the greatness of humanity.
Great God. I know.
Hook me up,
But,
put some plastic in me, and we're going to figure this thing out. We need some
yeah.
of those people.
So, is there any technology? So, I've seen some really cool, I forget the name of the organization, but they essentially go out into the ocean and they collect plastic and,
Hmm.
and stuff in that giant, like a giant net, like they've developed some contraption. Uh, is there any cool tech coming out there or tech that's focusing on reducing these microplastics or maybe even being able to test how much of something contains harmful plastics or I don't know.
In terms of, so that's going to be more biotech. The answer is yes. On the there's a few charities that I support that I love. One, the biggest one that's probably globally known, they're Ocean Cleanup, and they do
Oh, yes.
amazing work. What they do,
Yes.
they pay these people in these other countries to pick up trash, so they actually give them jobs and T-shirts and like uniforms, so they keep their beaches clean. But they'll put these huge, massive robots that are self-steering. They're essentially on autopilot, and they'll go through these rivers and just clean up
Oh, I've
tens
seen
of
that.
thousands, hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of plastic and junk. And so I love supporting anything that helps take care of our environment, take care of our planet. I love that stuff. And that's a good use of technology. In terms of biotech, there's a lot of interesting things like that because, like you said, you can't test humans. And the first place people tend to go is to rats in
Yeah.
labs. And so it's not necessarily detecting the microplastics because they can already do that. The question is, how quickly can we get them out of your body? So, forever chemicals, they say that not because they actually last forever, it's because they take so fucking long to leave the body.
Yeah.
BPA can get out of your body within 24 to 48 hours. But some of these other things, the actual microplastics, the ones specifically in the nanometers, and as you build them up and you accumulate them over time, they can be in your body for 3 to 5 years. So, I don't know of any tech companies trying to remove them. I also don't know if it's high up on the priority list. This whole thing with AI has got us, everybody's focus is kind of hijacked. Now, what I will say is there's some cool companies out there, not in tech, but just in general, like microplastics, freemicroplastics.com, all these companies where they show you here's the big rocks in your life where you're probably getting the most. Like, stay away from to-go food if you can. Don't
Mm.
heat up the styrofoam in the microwave. Glass, 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 metal, metal, metal. And then also, if we can go just really quickly, because I know we're about to hit our time here, but do you want to go into scents, fragrances, like candles and incense and perfumes, colognes, those
I mean,
chemicals?
if we could, I mean, is that related to microplastics? Do those have microplastics in them, or is it just more like the the sense in and of themselves,
Well,
like the
so
chemicals.
usually they're it's called, when you do the research, it's considered like a cocktail, because where it's kind of like where there's smoke, there's fire. So usually where there's BPAs, there's phthalates, or I don't even know how they pronounce it. Phthalates, PFAs. Let's see here. It says what they are: a group of over 12,000 synthetic chemicals that share carbon-fluorine bond, one of the strongest bonds in chemistry. That's why they don't break down. They
Hmm.
hide in nonstick cookware, food packaging, microwave bags, fast food wrappers, pizza boxes, waterproof fragrances, some cosmetics, lotions, dental floss. So these things are being put into even smell good lotions.
Oh yeah,
The hippies had it right.
and they're everywhere. I mean, think of they did. There's truth to everything. You know what I mean? Like there's pros and cons to everything. And unfortunately, sometimes we don't know the cons until we've been around plastics and everything's made out of plastics for the last 50 years, and now we're like, oh, hold on, there's downside to this.
Whoops. Our bad. You know what, though?
What?
In the grand scheme of the cosmos, you know, 60 years isn't that long. It's a pretty quick turnaround.
I don't know, but I'm pretty selfish. That's a long time in my lifetime.
Well, yeah, because we don't live
We
long.
can save the next generation
Yeah.
for the future generations.
Even when I was a kid, I don't feel like I was surrounded by plastics the way I am now. Like, I just felt like when we got a table, it was real wood, Like it was, I just remember everything being real wood, real craftsmanship, real metal. Even like
I'll say
computers had
this.
metal bodies, I felt like.
What I would say is this. Okay, where I think would be an easy place to limit plastics. So if we're going to talk about clothing, the like stores that just go those churn out clothes, like your H&M's,
Sheen.
your Forever
Hmm.
ones, Shein, Temu, and also like kids' toys, like the amount of toys and crap
Hmm.
that you buy and then just and have you ever like I'm sure you have, I don't know why I'm asking it like this, but kids toys, like the amount of 85,000 little plastic things you have to unscrew to
Hmm.
like get the Barbie out of the box,
Yeah.
you know and even just toys itself, like we're a very wasteful society
Hmm.
in general, like, and things are not expensive here, at least in the US, compared to other countries. Now, I'm not saying there isn't waste in other countries, but I definitely think there is more of a mindset of abundance and like, oh, throw that away. I can just get a new one
Yeah.
because things are so cheap, you know?
Yeah. That
And
happens a
like,
lot.
I think that would be like the first place that plastic, just because it's like an easy, I mean, it's not an easy fix because like that's changing a whole culture, but that's not something that's gonna, all the pipes in the world that are made out of PVC now need to be replaced for metal or, you know,
In which, by
something
the
even
way, to
greater.
PVC was because they realized copper was no good after it wouldn't last as long.
Yeah.
So I think what we're doing is we're experiencing innovation in real time. You and I just happen to be a part of the real life global experiment of figuring
Hmm.
these things out collectively. I don't think it happened with ill intention, nor do I think you're implying that. I just have a lot
Yeah.
of friends who are like, they're trying to keep us from having babies and this and that. And I'm like, dude, plastic was
Or like
just way
conspiracy
cheaper.
theories.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Like
I just
it's
got
not
one a
that big.
while ago because the
Hmm.
Artemis crew came back, and
Uh-uh.
so the ship pod landed in the ocean about a week
Oh,
ago.
uh-huh.
They
Uh-huh.
rescued the
Okay.
astronauts, and so I sent it to my buddy who believes the Earth is flat, and he sent me this
Okay.
Photoshop picture, and the post was like, "How is the NASA thing the only thing not burned up?" And I said, "Dude, you've got to get off Facebook. Like, here's a real video. That whole ship thing was burnt. Like, there was no NASA picture on there." So
Oh
I
my
get them
God.
all the time.
That's wild. That's
Yeah.
wild. But
So,
hey, difference of opinion keeps it all interesting, huh?
yes. Okay. Before we hop off, if you had to give up one thing, not your spoons, because that's too easy, but if you had to give up one thing
think that that's that easy.
Well, I know, that's why I'm asking. I would give up my espresso machine just because I use it every day, twice a day. And a close number two would be my athletic shorts. I would go to straight cotton shorts or denim.
I really would. Honestly, it really would be the plastic because I do it out of convenience and time saving, like in how busy my life is, you
Hmm.
know? And so that would be like a significant trade for me because now even if I have stuff at work, like I have to find time to wash it.
Yeah.
And then going back to same, the whole reason I went back to plastic water bottles sometimes was just literally time saving, so that I could grab a bottle and like go. Now you could get glass bottles, but then you're looking at cost versus. So I think I'm just gonna go back to a reusable water bottle, and if I have to buy seven of them, so I only have to wash it once a week.
You know what you and I are talking about doing here? We're talking about cleaning up the ocean with the mop.
Yes, not
It's
even
for
not even a mop. It's
yeah.
like one string on the mop.
Yeah, we're
It's like
doing
a
things to say we
like a
tried.
exactly. That's exactly what that is. But hey, you know what? I'm always this. At least you always got to start somewhere.
Yeah, that's funny.
You know?
Maybe I'll change the cover art to this one, mopping the ocean. You know,
Oh, you should.
you and us
You
trying to
should.
clean the ocean with the mop. That would be
I
hilarious.
love it.
I'll
Okay,
do
that's
it.
what it's gonna be.
So what it's gonna
Okay,
be.
guys, look out for that mopping the ocean. Till next time. Till
Till
next
next
week.
time. Bye, guys.
Bye.